So, hello everyone. Welcome to today's class. Today is week 2. The course is Social Work Research Program Evaluation. Let's start with the agenda for today. So, we have community news. And then right after community news, we watch a short video that kind of explain the differences between qualitative and quantitative research. Pay particular attention because right after the video, I will divide you into 3 groups and I'll give you a set of questions to address or response. I want you to interact among each other. Then I think I'll give you 5 to 10 minutes. Then we come back so that you present what the group agreed on before we move on to the topic for today. Is it okay? Are you good?
Yes.
All right. So this is a short video. Let me pause. We watch. You can make as perfect note as you want. I'll stop sharing with the... Okay. Okay, so let me stop sharing and then share my screen. Okay, stop sharing. Share my screen. You all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So let me enlarge it.
Whether it's work or school stuff, is taking all that information that you have and turning it into something that's clear and concise. I just need to open Grammarly, and it pretty much walks me through everything from brain.
In this video, we will discuss very briefly the main differences between quantitative research and qualitative research. So our intention here is just to let students know the general features of both quantitative and qualitative types of research and how do they differ from each other. For more details on the meaning, nature, and dynamics of both quantitative and qualitative types of research, including their specific methods in gathering data, please refer to our other video lectures on this topic. And so let's begin. On the one hand, quantitative research refers to the systematic, empirical investigation of observable phenomena by gathering quantifiable data and performing computational, mathematical, and statistical techniques. As is well known, scholars and researchers employ a quantitative research method in their attempt to develop theories, mathematical models, and hypotheses that pertain to a particular phenomenon under investigation. This explains why measurement, that is, the process of assigning numbers to empirical objects or events, is central to quantitative research because it provides necessary and fundamental connection between empirical observation and mathematical expressions. Quantitative research is important as it provides data that are descriptive, which help researchers arrive at an objective and valid understanding of a phenomenon under investigation. For instance, quantitative data such as demographics, market size, and consumer preferences provide valuable information for important business decisions. As we can see, quantitative research collects data from respondents through the use of a sampling method, which allows researchers to make inferences about a larger population by examining the part or parts. The collection of data from the sample is usually done through questionnaires, online polls, and online surveys. Now, on the other hand, qualitative research is a type of research that involves collecting and analyzing non-numerical data to understand concepts, opinions, or experiences. According to the University of Utah, Qualitative research is a process of naturalistic inquiry that seeks in-depth understanding of social phenomena within a particular natural setting. So, rather than relying on statistical and numerical data, qualitative research methods rely mainly on people's words as the primary data. These require qualitative analysis and do not require sophisticated statistical treatment. As we can see, and contrary to the popular belief, qualitative research is not a method of research, but simply a type of research. However, we may speak of the term qualitative research methods, and if we do so, we are exactly referring to the different methods of collecting and analyzing qualitative data. Qualitative research is commonly employed in the humanities and social sciences, in subjects such as philosophy, history, education, sociology, anthropology, and literature, with the aim of gathering in-depth insights into a problem or generate new ideas for further research. This type of research is also used to explore complex topics and issues or understand how people experience a particular phenomenon.
I used to say, if I hear AI one more time, I'm going to lose it. But Monday.com is super easy to use and knows how.
Okay, that's excellent. Stop sharing. So how do you find the video? Is it informative? Is it relevant? Did the video help in any way? Did it improve your understanding of what a qualitative and quantitative research are?
I think it was
Anyone?
Yeah, I found that it was helpful.
Okay.
So what I understand is quantitative is uses data
Data, yeah.
and collects data through sampling, whereas
Mm-hmm.
quantitative is relies on like words or stories or experiences.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah, it makes
And
sense.
quantitative is generally used in humanities and social services.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other one? Any other person who want to add something?
I would say just like the word is quality and quantity, So qualitative is just instead of using words like
Yeah.
words to get your research and make your quality research, while quantitative has to do with statistics, with numbers, deal with
Exactly.
numbers. Yeah, so that's the difference between both.
Good. Any other? Okay, I think we still have questions to address. So let me show the slides. Okay, let me point this one. Do you see my slide anyway? Do you see the slides again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
Professor.
So I'm going to divide you into three. I want the three groups to discuss or brainstorm these questions. One, how is qualitative research different from quantitative research? Two, what type of research, either qualitative or quantitative, would you recommend for social work research and why? Three, your colleague at work vehemently rejected qualitative research on the assumption that it is not scientific or that it's not scientific. Explain to him, her, or them why you agree or disagree. Is that okay? So I will divide you into three groups, just three groups. You are going to, discuss this question among yourself and brainstorm the answer and then come and do your presentation afterwards. Are we good? Are we good? Okay, good. So let me divide you into three right now. I want you to talk to each other. Very, very important. All right. Three groups. Okay. I've created the groups now. Wow, that's large groups. And open the rooms. You can join it now. Tell me, Togo, why didn't you join the group?
Báwo ni kálẹ̀ ṣe dára ló wà? Báwo ni ojú ẹ̀kú jẹ́ mẹ́ta? Tó kínní yìí mi ò ríra ní Nàìjíríà, òun ti fẹ́ máa dámèjì fèsì mi, òun fẹ́ máa ba skin mi jẹ́, kò sí ní Nàìjíríà rárá rárá. Mọ̀ bóyá èèyàn bá ti dé sátẹ̀ ìjì kan bá gbọ̀ngàn lákàntì máa ṣẹlẹ̀.
Hello, ìyá wa. Ṣé ti sùn sínsìn? Mo ní ṣe ti sùn sínsìn. Mo ń kírun gbà tẹ pè mí yẹn ni. Mo dẹ̀ tún ti wá join kíláàsì báyìí. Mo ń kírun lẹ́ẹ̀kan yìí.
Sorry, someone's mic's on.
I saw it later.
Okay.
Oh, are you done this group?
Yeah, we're all done. I thought it was okay to come back to the room.
Okay, that's good. So
Thank
let's
you.
give the others 1 minute to join us. I think it's time to end it, right? Close the. Okay, they will join us very soon. Justin, is that your name, or you are using somebody's laptop?
Sorry, who?
Talking to me?
Is that your name, Justin? Justine. Justine. Oh, okay. All right.
But yes, it's me.
All right. Okay. Good. I want to be sure if I'm recording the attendance.
Yes, I'm here. I'm usually quiet, but I'm here.
Okay. All right. I think we are all here. So, I even forgotten which one is group 1, group 2. You know yourself, right? So, group 1. Okay, group 1. Can you explain or can you address the question 1? How is qualitative research different from quantitative research?
I don't remember what group I am.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
think
going to
we're
say,
three.
if we're doing it
Wanda,
in
we're
that
three.
way, group 3
We're
never got to
two?
question 3.
Yeah. With Maria, Wanda, we're in group 2.
Yeah.
We're group
Yeah.
2. Okay, thanks, guys.
Okay, so the group 1. Yes, Jessica.
I think we were in room 1.
Okay.
So we differentiate quantitative and qualitative. Like quantitative is more like about measuring numbers, math, statistics, and that. And qualitative is about experiences and social phenomena, how people are experiencing certain types, or how people are experiencing the phenomenon. So that's what we focus on. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, that's the name, so the quality and quantity, right? So, quantitative basically means you are using the numerical analysis. So, for example, you have to use what we call sample size, right? The sample size should be calculated, right? After calculating the sample size, you have to do what we call random sampling. Because if you are doing a qualitative research, your sampling should be random in order to give the credibility that you want. In qualitative and quantitative analysis, we use normally models or statistical softwares. So, like we use Stata, we use eView, we use SPSS in analysis. But in qualitative, studies, mostly we are trying to explain the phenomenon based on the opinion and expression of people. So mostly we use the words of the individual, right, as the data point. And normally the sample size is small, right, because you are only looking for the people who have the necessary information that you are looking for. Is that right? So there's no need for you to have a larger sample size. And with qualitative research too, the sample size is determined by what we call saturation. Saturation is at a point where no new information is coming up, right? No new information is provided by the participants. So apart from what you said, these are some of the technical things that I'll add to that. Group 2, can you explain your answer for, or can you, discuss the answer for group question 2, which is what type of research would you recommend for social work research and why? Group 2.
I can go, I guess. So we said that both are useful. Qualitative research is often used because it captures the lived experience, right? The context, culture, and voices in the marginalized groups that a lot of times numbers can't reach. But then I also mentioned you can use quantitative for collecting data and stats from programs and for when you have to do your reports and your Q and stuff, right? So you use both, but most of the time I would say qualitative.
Okay. So essentially what you are saying is that Ashley want to add something. Ashley, go ahead. Ashley, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Sorry, I wasn't asking a question. I just wanted to add on to it.
Okay, good. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, group 3, we spoke about this as well, and we also said both was relevant in social work, and then we kind of used examples where qualitative data would be used more so for like advocacy and policy change because you'd have to present it to like government officials, for example, whereas like quantitative and then qualitative we would use more so for like advocacy within the community because we would want to use like first person experience and, you know, emotions to kind of display our data that we collected. So both are beneficial. It just depends on the demographic you're presenting the information to.
Okay, good. I mean, absolutely, both are, essential. But, you know, in answering question, you should look at the nature of the question. The question want you to make a choice or decide on something. We know both are important, right? So you make a choice, right? And absolutely, you are right. It depends on, for
But
example, what you are studying, right?
like doctor, I
Yes,
would like to say
yes.
something. This is
Mm-hmm.
Mary. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like she actually rightly said, and then if we have to make a choice, we are in the same group. I would say qualitative because for social work research, social work
Mm-hmm.
deals with human, deals with people, deals with
Mm-hmm.
so you have the story, their stories is very, very relevant when it comes to research doing, their feelings, what they've been through, their
Mm-hmm.
stories and all of that. So I would go for the qualitative because that
Okay.
explains exactly what's yeah, the
Okay. Good. I
intentions
saw
and
Ima's hand. Ima, Dennis.
Yeah, I was just gonna add kind of to the conversation as well that
Good.
if we have to
I
choose
like
one.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say I honestly for myself, like I work for a municipality, like I work for the city, so I would argue that as much as qualitative I feel like is the right answer in terms of social work, that
Mm-hmm.
quantitative is most
I agree.
important because in order to get any type of funding or even like for example, when I work
Yeah.
as a youth worker, so to get anything,
Mm-hmm.
it's all the numbers. If there's not numbers presented, then there's no
Mm-hmm.
outlet. They don't care as much to say, okay, the youth want this or whatever. Like they do, but in terms of
Mm-hmm.
going, like someone said, to policy, to government, to go to that legislative letter, like it's all
Mm-hmm.
in numbers. So I think numbers, honestly, unfortunately, is what drives a lot of stuff in society
Yeah,
and
Okay.
social.
Okay.
I
Wonderful.
agree.
Wonderful. So, I mean, essentially, what you are saying is that figures don't lie, right? If you want to apply for funding, they want you to provide data, and data comes from numbers. Okay, absolutely. Michelle?
Yeah, so I also shared, because I'm a case manager of a newer program. It's been around,
Okay.
the government's implemented it in 2023. And so I can see how both are really important especially when it comes to evaluation of programs. That qualitative piece is very important because that's where you can see where programs have downfalls by listening to the participants' lived experiences and views of the program. But again,
Yes.
exactly.
just to piggyback on what I believe it was Emma was saying, was that quantitative piece is what really drives funding, right? They want to see those successes, they want to see the numbers. So I think
Mm-hmm.
as much as we know that quantitative piece is like significant, there's also that
Mm-hmm.
qualitative piece. Sorry, I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
them mixed up, but
Mm-hmm.
the quantitative piece that's important again for that funding piece.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So, I mean, basically, you are saying the same thing, right? First of all, it depends on what you are studying, right? But in social work, and especially in doing critical aspect of social work, anti-oppressive social work, mostly we lean towards qualitative, of course. But if you are applying for funding and something of that nature, they will need the right? The
Yeah.
quantitative, right? They
Mm-hmm.
need the
Mm-hmm.
data in order to be able to, get the funding. So absolutely, you are right on that. Yes, James, you want to add something?
I just want to say that the quantitative also is really powerful in backing up the qualitative aspect when they're used
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
together. Like it
Mm-hmm.
really,
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well
So
said,
in that
James.
case,
Well said.
so how do we call a research that combine qualitative and quantitative?
Repeat the
Sorry,
A
question
can you
again.
repeat
research,
that again?
a research that combines qualitative and quantitative. What's the name of that research?
Mixed method.
Yes, mixed method research.
Mixed method, yeah.
Yes, mixed method research. So the advantage of mixed method is that, both qualitative and quantitative have their own advantages, right? Have their own strength. So they complement each other, right? So, for example, you cannot vividly describe human experience with numbers. Is that right? You can't, describe emotions with numbers, right? So that aspect is covered by the qualitative. But sometimes you also need what we call precision. What is a precision? You want to know how many people benefited from the program. How many in terms of percentage? 10%, 5%, 100%. And in some program evaluation, you have to state specific percentage, for example, that you want to see in your objective. So, for example, you can state in your objective that by maybe at the end of the program, 30% or 20% or 40% of the participant or client might have seen improvement in their life. So you have a yardstick to measure. Is that all right? You have something that you measure. So yes, quality. Mixed method is very good, but of course, critical scholars are very skeptical. You know, there is saying that if you want to be cold, be cold, and if you want to be warm, be warm. Like declaring stance of neutrality. So the whole idea of neutrality, there's also argument or criticism against that, but that's not what we are doing for today. Yes, group 3. I mean, end the discussion with your response. Your
No,
colleague.
we didn't
Yes.
get to the actual question.
Yeah, we had a
The group
really
3?
good conversation about question
So-
2, and then we ran out of time.
Oh, that question. Okay, so you didn't get that
So-
point. Okay, at least you can
still
explain
ask
something. Is qualitative study empirical or not? Because some believe it's subjective. What will you say?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
I say, is qualitative research empirical? Because your colleague at work reject it on the assumption that it is not scientific.
It is scientific. I don't think it's not. It's empirical. It's scientific too, because when we talk about the quality of the research that we are basing it on, especially when it has to do, I keep saying when it has to do with social work, because we are dealing with humans, right?
Yeah.
So the quality of the research is very very important, because it has to do with systematic method. You have to ask questions. It has to do with ethical guidelines. In as much as it's quality, you have to do with data collections too. So when you talk about data collection in qualitative, it's scientific, it's empirical. I wouldn't, I disagree with my colleagues saying that. It's not.
Michelle?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary. Michelle?
Yeah, I agree. I would disagree also, because as we know, lived experience, people's words, people's evaluations of programs, for example, can drive change. So to me, it is the scientific way because of that reason, right? Because we see when people advocate about their lived experiences, them being the expert, we know that there's change with that, and that is important, and is also, to me, a scientific way of, doing research.
Correct.
Shamad?
Yeah, I would say same. Like, I just want to add to, like, I think, just because the research might not be it might not look like science in a lab, but it's still credible, evidence-based and important. I think in using evidence and documentation, you're analyzing patterns, you're collecting data, you're observing. So I think that's all part of science. I mean, I don't like science, but I'm just saying it's all part of it. So yeah, so I just wanted to add that.
Okay, good. Laura?
Hi, I'm in group 3 as well, and I would really just stress out to my colleague that science is not limited to numbers alone.
Okay, good.
It's really just not about numbers alone. Yeah.
Okay. Kenzie, did I mention your name right?
This is just making me remember from like psychology that, from what I remember anyways, I took it last term, is that qualitative is like the foundation research method for psychology, and that would saying that qualitative research isn't science is like saying that psychology isn't isn't scientific as well. So that would be, I think, the foundation for my argument of disagreeing.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Janet?
Oh, I would just like to add that the fact that, qualitative comes with a lot of richness, a lot of depth, which is not something that you get just by the way. It comes with a lot of trust, a lot of the factors that we could easily mention of quantitative. So it is a form of science.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, Ima?
Sorry,
The
I'm not in
discussion
this
is
group.
becoming
I just
interesting.
wanted to jump in. I just want to say, just for that last question, I feel like another huge part of science is theory. And in the introduction to social work and research course, we learned so much about how feminist theory, anti-racism, indigenous frameworks were really rooted in different types of qualitative methodologies and stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, all of you, you made a very good point. So, I will not go over it again. Let me just go straight to what we want to do today. And of course, throughout this course, you'll get to know whether qualitative research is empirical, is scientific, and all that. Of course, there's no doubt about that. So we will go along. Let me be mindful of time. So, all right. So last week we we defined research, right? Briefly. Of course, to just refresh our memory before we proceed to what we want to do today, I will go over the Baker's definition of research, right? A systematic procedure used in seeking facts or principles. So this is just in a very brief way of explaining what a science research is. What is the purpose or what are the purposes of research in human services? So who can give me an example of human services? An example, one. Social work is one. Yes, another. Human services. Any
Child
occupation
welfare?
that you deal with the human? Child okay.
welfare?
Child welfare, okay. Yes. Any other?
Housing, shelter.
Housing. Shelter, okay, yeah, shelter, you have to deal with the humans, yes.
Mental health
Nursing,
support.
Right? What support?
Mental health.
Mental health, yeah, you have to deal with humans. So you have
Employment.
nursing.
Case management.
Employment services.
Employment services, okay. All these, yes.
And family counseling too. Counseling
Okay,
too.
all right, so you have a lot of them. So any job or any position that will bring you into contact with people or humans, we call them the human services. So most institutions are human services. And the objective or the purpose for which we conduct research in these institutions or organization, if I may also say, are one, to objectively describe a phenomenon. Two, to empirically evaluate the effectiveness of service. So, for example, we are looking at the institution, we are looking at how it functions, what are the pros and cons of the institution, and whether the institution, is beneficial to the people that obtain services from that institution. Then, to validly explain a phenomenon. Validly explain. So what is the difference between the describe and then the explain? To describe a phenomenon and to explain a phenomenon. Is there any difference?
I think the difference to describe is just to mention, like, for example, its characteristics.
Characteristics, yes.
Describing it, and explaining is more in depth. It's like actually trying to make the other person understand what their characteristic means or how it works.
Okay. Okay, good. So yes, Kenzie, you want to add something?
Yeah, like I think just like put it simply, the difference is what is happening versus why it's happening.
Oh, excellent. So it's explain the what and the why. Is that okay? Basically, the what and the why. And then add to the existing knowledge. Of course, we know the cardinal principle of research is to add to the existing knowledge. Based on these objectives or the purposes, we can categorize research into three. One, the descriptive one, two, evaluative one, and the explanatory ones. So, as we so the explanatory one will look at the why, and then descriptive one will look at what questions, right? And then evaluative one will also look at the effectiveness. Do we agree or not? We agree. Okay, perfect. Let's move ahead. So let's look at what is qualitative research. Basically, it's a naturalistic inquiry, right? To understand a phenomenon. But what are the features or characteristics? These are some of the things that I'm coming to list here. One, explore a central phenomenon. So the cardinal or the overarching goal of your research or whatever you want to evaluate, right? Or the overarching goal is explain the central phenomenon. Then ask participants broad and general questions. In qualitative research, we ask open-ended questions, right? We ask what? Open-ended questions to allow the participants to explore, right? Explore the topic under discussion. We want their experience, their perspective from all angles, right? Collect a detailed view of participants in the form of words or images. So when we collect images, what do we call it? Last year we did that. Last term, right? Last term.
Photo voice.
Photo voice. Oh, wonderful. I like that. I like when people remember. So photo voice. And then analyze and code data for description and themes. So this talks about how qualitative research analyze data. It has to do transcription, coding, and then categorization or thematization. Then interpret the meaning of the information drawing on personal reflections and past research, right? So we draw inferences from the data, from the literature, and from our personal experience. Shauna, are we good? Okay, wonderful. And write the final report that include personal bias and flexible structure. So why is it necessary to talk about personal bias?
Because it
So that
can
it doesn't.
skew the results of the research. Sorry, Shauna.
No, you said
No,
exactly
go
what I
ahead.
was.
So because it can, because you can pick and choose kind of what you want to pull out, because it's not numbers, it's words. So you can, it's more, can be more skewed.
So you have to guide against biasness, right? But what we are talking about is you have to, locate yourself within the research. Let us know you. Is that okay? Let the participant know who you are so they can interpret your report, right, in relation to who you are. So you locate yourself within the what? The research. Not to show bias, but to tell us who you are. Is that okay? So show your bias. Okay, my bias is like, let's talk about, I'm doing research on anti-Black racism. Is that all right? I have to explain I am Black, right? And share my experience a little briefly. So anybody reading, understand that, oh, okay, this is a person speaking from this perspective. If you are doing anti-Black racism and you are white, you have to let the reader know who you are, right? So they can interpret or they can understand your argument based on who you are. So that's what to show you about. But the actual research, you are not supposed to be biased, right? Although the biasness is not something that we are more focused on, but the actual research should be more credible. Yes, Antoinette?
I was just gonna add that recognizing personal bias, it also makes the research more honest and trustworthy. So
Yes,
instead of
yes,
pretending the researching is completely natural.
yes, absolutely. That's the very, very key point, right? It's about honesty. It's about allowing the participant to know who you are, where you are coming from. So there is always argument that qualitative research is subjective. That's the bias. And then the quantitative research is what? Objective. But that's not usually always the case, right? Michelle, you want to ask something on that?
Right. No, I know. I was just going to make a comment because I was just thinking it also, because you're talking about building trust. So it
Yes.
actually is, we're approaching that research through the lens of wanting to learn more. And so when we are presenting our bias, explaining who we are, presenting our bias, maybe the lack of understanding of whatever the topic is, or the concept. And through that, we actually are building trust, but then learning from the individual, which then also creates trust. So it's allowing us to see the participant as the expert, right? And then we're learning from them, and that also can decrease maybe this kind of intimidation, or not intimidation, that's not really the word, but maybe a power imbalance that would come from a researcher participant that potentially could be there. So then it creates a relationship.
Absolutely. It's like we are not pretending to be neutral, right? We want people to know who we are so that they can judge us based on who we are, not rather hide under the cloak of neutrality and then perpetuates atrocities. Okay, what do we need to keep in mind when designing a qualitative research? So for example, if you want to qualitative, what are some of the things that you should keep in mind? One, focus on the process as well as the outcome. So what is the process? Well, what is the process and what is the outcome?
The process would be the steps that you take to get to your outcome, to your
conduct the research. Yes. Yeah,
yes.
To conduct the research. Absolutely. And then I saw somebody saying, who is that? Is it?
No, I'm just agreeing with what she said. The process by which it is conducted, yes.
Okay, yeah. So the process is the step-by-step way you conduct the research, and the outcome is what?
Results.
The outcome is the result.
The result or the findings, yes.
The result.
Or the findings. Now, let the design emerge. So you have to describe vividly, right, the data collection method, right? So is it focus group? Is it in-depth interview? Is it participant observation? Is it workshop? Is it field note? Let the design emerge smoothly, explain clearly in terms. And for example, each method that you adopt, you must justify it. So why did you, for example, decide to use in-depth interview, not focus group? Is that okay? So let me give you a typical example. You see, if you are going to conduct a research where it involves people disclosing their private issues, right? It's not appropriate to use focus group, right? Or you are going to conduct a research where you have to interview people to disclose sensitive information, then focus group is not appropriate. The most appropriate one will be what? In-depth interview. So whichever method that you choose, you must be able to justify why did you choose that method, right? Develop a complex picture of the phenomenon. So that what is the whole phenomenon about? You have to first of all understand it before you can explain. Now discuss the context of the phenomenon. Then follow the scientific method, meaning step-by-step approach in conducting research, starting with the introduction, problem statement. Problem statements are within the introduction, right? So the problem statement, the justification are all within the introduction. Then you come to literature review. You look at the issue around methodology. You look at the results, discussions, and conclusions. All these are step-by-step approach. So when we say research is a systematic, meaning it follows step-by-step approach of how things are done, particularly related to studies. Any question before I move on? So what to include in the design, your research design, if you are conducting a qualitative research, what do you have to include? One, data collection method. Yes, who can name one? One of the data collection method using qualitative. Oh, come on. You know all this. I mentioned few of them. Yes, Jennifer?
Samples.
I feel like a poll or
Poll is quantitative.
Survey, no?
survey, yeah.
Survey is quantitative.
Recording.
Recording is techniques.
Focus groups.
Focus group is one, yes.
Oh, so interview
Tamika?
questions.
Interview. Sorry, I never knew I was muted.
Yeah, I was just going to say interview.
Yes, in-depth interview, because focus group is also in interview, right? So you have to be specific. In-depth interview. James, you want to ask some?
No, I did. I don't know if you heard me, but that's all. I was just talking about the interview questions.
Okay. We'll talk about that. Yes, Jessica?
Would the open-ended surveys be qualitative as well?
Open-ended question, yes, it's part of it. It's more open-ended is the type of question you ask, right? But when we talk about the method, we have focus group, we have in-depth interview, we have participant observation, right? Observation. And you can even conduct, workshops, right? And then field notes is also part of data collection in qualitative research. Are we good? Did you list them down?
About open and ended questions, too.
Is that?
About open and ended questions or one-on-one conversations.
So open and ended question is like features of the nature of question that you ask, right? Mostly in qualitative research, we ask open-ended questions, right? But it's not a method. Method, we have, let's say 5. I mentioned them. One, in-depth interview, that's one-on-one interview. Focus group, where you have a group of 6 or 12 or whatever. We have participant observation. You observe the participants. And then workshop can also be a data collection method. Field notes can also be a data collection method. Document analysis, right? You can conduct your research mainly through document analysis, right? Through gathering information. So that can also be it. Then we talk about data analysis, how we analyze data. We will do all this, so I don't have to be talking about it. Data presentation, data interpretation, and then data validation. So for example, we are talking about doing something like triangulation. Compare and contrast the various data sources. Any questions so far? Any question? Okay, let's run speed. So types, I can call them types of qualitative research, right? Or traditions. So we have narrative research, we have phenomenology, we have ethnography. Note that ethnography is both qualitative and quantitative. So I can ask question, which of these tradition constitute both qualitative and quantitative? Then I'll bring out, choose grounded theory. Is that okay? We did all this last term. so I'm not going to go over them. You know them. So I'll leave it as it is. Then case study. All these are types. Any question before I will explain program evaluation? Before we go for 10 minutes break. Any questions? Maria, do you have a question? Okay. Jessica?
No, I'm
No
fine, thank
question? More questions.
Okay.
Dana? Dana and Wanda, you met here. I sometimes confuse you one after the other. I see you in different classes. But this time around, both of you are here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Michelle, any question? Okay. Right. So,
No, I'm good.
all right. So we explained the research. Then let's look at the other aspects, which is the program evaluation. So when we talk about program, what do we mean? Right? Program is an organized collection of activity designed to reach a certain objectives. There is difference between what? Program and project. Last week we discussed that. We mentioned that programs are permanent, capital intensive, right? And projects are subset of programs. So a group of projects becomes what? A program, right? So programs are relatively permanent organization and procedure designed to meet ongoing client needs. Projects are more flexible, right? More flexible because they are short term and subject to change and modification and short term scope. Programs are more capital intense, meaning they are expensive to run. James? Good? Okay. Uh, let's look at some of the definition or explanation of what we call program evaluation, right? So, yes, Chidima, I saw your hand up.
Okay, Professor, I wanted to ask, you are talking about program and projects.
Yes.
You're saying that programs are more intense than projects. Can you
Yes.
please expatiate it a little bit, maybe with examples, like when you mean, like me, I was thinking that projects are, that programs are embedded in projects, but can you please, like explain further, maybe with example, what could look like a program and
Okay.
what could look like a project?
Okay. So let's
Yeah.
take, for example, a program can be something like Ontario Works. Is that okay? Under the Ontario Works, there are different projects under it. Is that okay? So, for example, there are disability allowance, there are this, there are that, there are that. And they are long term, right? It's like something that is permanent. But projects are something that we conduct. So, for example, I just want to run a food bank. Is that okay? Just a
Yeah.
food bank to support people during maybe crisis like the COVID-19 pandemic. There were a lot of community that started to collect food and be distributing. These are the projects, right? These are short-lived. They can modify it at any given point in time.
Okay.
Did they help?
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. Perfect.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you for thanking me. So it involves direct measurement of observable behavior which employ appropriate methods to assess the reliability and validity of these observational methods. So we are explaining what a program evaluation is. So program evaluation is a subset of research. So research is the broader umbrella under which we can find program evaluation. Justin, are we good? Okay, so let's take note. And then the outcome or the goal of program evaluation is not for publication. So which one is for publication then? Anyone? We said the focus of outcome, it focuses on outcome rather than publication. So what focus on publication? Is it a difficult question?
Can you repeat the question, sir?
Can you read or rather or
So I said,
or re-explain it.
Program evaluation focuses on outcome rather than publications. And I'm asking, which or what focuses on publication? Sonette?
I'm going up on a limb and I would say quantitative research, which focus on publication.
So research basically is focusing on publication because adding to existing knowledge, and program evaluation focuses on effectiveness of a program. Simple. Are we good?
Sorry, can you
Any
repeat
questions?
that again? Can you repeat that, please?
Program evaluation, I said, focuses on the outcome or the effectiveness of a program. However, research focuses on publications or adding to the existing knowledge. Is it clearer now?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Chidima.
Okay, Professor, if I get what you're saying right, you're saying that program evaluation focuses on outcome. Let's take, for instance, like now we have Ontario Works, like, is now going to evaluate how Ontario Works has impacted the life of people. Or what are the challenges people using Ontario Works? What are the challenges that they are facing? So evaluation is going to look at the outcome of what the program is. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And when you're talking about research now, is research doing like adding knowledge to it, or so what would research do? Yeah.
Absolutely. So research basically, help us understand better what the Ontario Works is. But the program evaluation will help us to know the effectiveness of the Ontario Works. Is that okay?
I think
How
I
effective
understand.
is it or it's
I
not?
understand better now.
Okay, good.
So what you're saying that, sorry, like using Ontario Works as an example. So when we do research on Ontario Works, for instance, we are looking at how to make it better, like getting extra information to add on it to make it better. So so the other way around, whatever we get from evaluation, we can take it back to research to see how we're going to put it to make Ontario Works better.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so let's look at the characteristics of program evaluation or the features. Program evaluation is practical endeavor and not academic exercise, right? Not intended to build theory or develop social science knowledge. So this is clearer explanation, right? Program evaluation is conducted to address problem, right? To address problem of a program. The goal of program evaluation in social work is to provide information necessary to improve the social program. Program evaluation is applied research used as part of managerial process. What do you mean by applied research? Anyone?
Like surveys within the company?
Survey within the company? Okay. Is it a meaning of the applied research? Yes. Oh, wow. A lot of hands up. Let me see. Sorry, I don't. Okay. I don't know who is first, but let me see. Okay. My screen says Chidima. Yes. Followed by Michelle. Yes.
Okay. I would say, from my own understanding, applied research and program evaluation will be like like as you said that program evaluation is looking at the outcome, like what happens. So applied research is not like, we've understand what the problem is. This is what then we now try to implement what we found in the
Yes.
research. Let's
Yes.
say using Ontario Works, for instance, we are looking at the challenges, like why do people get their money late? For instance, as a problem, maybe we have a case where many people are getting their money late, and we are now, after evaluating, we say, okay, people get their money late. Then we now use research to find out, okay, they get their money late, maybe because their bank statements are not correct, they moved or whatever. So that result that we got from the research is now what we are going to apply into the program that we're doing to make it better. So to see where those hindrances, how we can reduce it or remove it to make people getting their Ontario Works money, to let them get it faster.
Absolutely.
Like that's my
Absolutely.
understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's
Okay.
basically using the knowledge from the research to make things better, right? Michelle,
Okay,
you want to
to
add
solve the
something?
problem, right? And
To
then
solve the
no.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So
No, that was
that's why we have applied sciences like engineering, medicine, and so forth.
Okay.
They take the knowledge of the sciences and then put it into practice. Is that okay? All right. So, Antoinette, do you want to say something different, or because we don't have to waste
Yeah,
time on
so
this?
yes. So
Yeah.
my question is, does that mean we cannot do program evaluation without a research?
Without a research, no. Program evaluation is also a research, right? I mentioned it's a part of research, but the goal of that program evaluation is not for publication. Of course, it doesn't mean that you can't publish it. You can publish it, but the purpose is not for publication. Do you get a difference,
yeah, it's
Rochelle?
to
It seems
improve
you are
it's to
confused.
improve the
Yeah,
program, right?
yeah, to improve program. But of
Yes.
course, you can publish it if you want, right? If a journal will accept. But that is not the purpose of conducting program evaluation. Is that okay? All right. So
Yeah.
program evaluation
No,
is also
so like if they say need to do program evaluation, like so let's say they want to evaluate like Ontario Works, as my colleague was saying. So the research has to be part of that whole activity or that whole project to evaluate the program.
yeah. So when, for example, you want to evaluate Ontario West, your goal will determine, are you evaluating it to, look at the effectiveness, how effective or otherwise it is, and how we can improve it? Or are you evaluating or doing the research to add to the existing knowledge about Ontario work in general? Is that okay? So program evaluation itself is also research, right? So that's why we say it's a subset of research. It's a branch of a research that look into how things are done effectively or institutions. Is that okay? All right. You get to know more about that when we talk about format types or forms of program evaluation. Now, program evaluation is also managerial tool that can help to make better decision making about social and human service organization. Assuming I'm running a program on food security, I've spent millions of cedis or millions of dollars, right? And then I want to know whether the program is benefiting people. I want to see whether I should continue or discontinue the program. I can contract somebody to do evaluation for me. And based on that, I'll say, oh, after all, I'm spending too much money, but it's not giving us the benefit or it's not benefiting the people as I wanted. So I'll discontinue. So we use it to make decision, right? You cannot just make decision without informed knowledge. So program evaluation help us to make an informed decision. It also helps us to make best use of resources. as we labor to improve the quality of life of our clients, right? Meaning judicious use of the resources. How can you allocate the resources equitably, right, to address the challenges of people? Are we good? Anyone? Okay. Okay. Let me see. What do we have? Next one. Okay, let me mention this briefly because we did this. Sorry. Uh-oh. So in program evaluation tool, we can conduct, for example, let me say experiment. And I know last term we discussed a whole lot of topic under experimental research and whatever. So I'm not going to go over it again. I'm just mentioning it because you know them, you know what they are. And if you want to learn more, visit your notes. So example of experimental design, we have what we call a longitudinal design. We have which look at the perspective study where the same participant followed over a period of time. Then we have case control method where participants are selected based on certain characteristics. And then we have what we call statistical matching. The aim of this is to integrate information from different data sources. And then we have what we call the time series. Basically, the time series help us to look at the trend, how things are going, right? To look at the trends of things. It's now 8:25. Let me give you 10-minute break, right? So that let's go to the washroom and come back, and I think I can use 30 to 1 hour to just finish the rest. Are we good? Are we good? All right.
Yes.
Don't leave. Don't log out because I'm going to take attendance whilst you are on break. So just stay there and then whilst I take my attendance.
Please, sir, how many minutes break?
10 minutes. It's
10
now.
minutes.
Come back at 8:36. Come back 8:36.
Okay, sir.
All right.
See you then.
All right. See you. Okay. What was that? Okay. This one. No, you're not going for break. Mm.
Professor, it's Olivia
Yes.
speaking. I sent you a quick message privately.
Okay.
I don't know if you were able to get it. I was just hoping I could log off quickly.
Is it an email?
No, just through the chat here.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. You want to log out briefly?
Yeah, I just know you were taking attendance, but I'll
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
like, I'll be right back.
Give me one. Oh, yeah, now you can go.
Yeah?
I'll
Okay.
take it. You don't have to wait. Dana, you can go. I'll take it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Diana, I want to go for break. let's wrap up quickly.
Dr. Demi, is there a rubric in there for the critiquing of the article?
Yeah. Didn't you see it?
I didn't
Maybe.
see it.
Okay, let me finish and
I
then
also
check.
couldn't find it either, Professor.
Okay, I'll finish and check it for you. Okay, I hope you are all back. And all right, so we are not going to discuss this experimental designs because we already did that last time. I'm just introducing them to refresh our memory so that we can go on with that. Okay, let's look at type of evaluation, or I should call this, I should label these forms because we have another types of evaluation based on, for example, what it's used for. So let me use this one of forms of evaluation. Forms of evaluation. So take note of that. Oh, okay, good. So let's look at the forms of, it's types, not forms. I'm I think going ahead of myself. So it should be types, not forms. Types of evaluation. So we have what we call the need assessment evaluation. Who can explain what that is? The needs assessment. As the name suggests, right? Anyone? Yes. I can see a hand up. Is it Chidima or Chidima and Michelle? Yes.
Okay, looking at the name needs. So
Yeah.
when you're talking about, to my own understanding, I could be wrong though, but
Yeah.
looking at when you're doing a need assessment,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, now you are assessing you first of all, try to find out what the problem is. Like you
Mm-hmm.
do a kind of, let's say, feasibility study.
Okay.
So you evaluate it to know what the problem is. What problem are you looking at?
Mm-hmm.
Then how does the problem, how does it affect the person? Then you look at maybe things like accessibility. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
how does the person react to it? How, like how when you're doing, like, let's say, let me use something for instance, like we are sexing somebody that's uh that wants to go into a program.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say somebody that wants to go into Ontario Works program. Let me use Ontario Works for instance.
Yeah.
So you are now looking at, first of all, you try to find out what are the person's problem,
Mm-hmm.
what is it that this person is passing through. Then after you
Mm-hmm.
find out what the challenge the person is looking at, now you
Mm-hmm.
now think of how the challenge the person has, does it fit? You also look at the program like the Ontario Works, the type
Mm-hmm.
of part of Ontario Works that you're putting the person into, does it really what it is, it going to better the life of that person? How is that program going to affect that person? At the
Okay.
same time, you are looking at the criterias, kind of what criterias or qualification does this person have? What this person have, does it tally into the program for the person to be accepted?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
so, so like for
Yeah.
me, these are some of the things that when you're doing a need assessment, like something like that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, you are right. I mean, most of you who are working in institutions, you do need assessment all the time. But in terms of evaluation, for example, if you want to introduce a program, you want to look at what are some of the things that you need to start, what are some of the things the client want, what are kind of services are you going to provide, right? All these are types of needs assessment. And then we have the another one which is the client satisfaction studies, right? You want to know whether the client are satisfied with the program that you are providing. Michelle, I saw your hand up. Do you still want to say something, or I can go ahead?
No, it was explained, but yeah, I'm
Okay,
good.
good. Then we are what we call formative and process evaluation. We are going to dwell more on this type of evaluation. One, formative, process, and outcome evaluation. We will discuss them in details. Right? Take note. So, formative, process, and outcome. So, formative is like the feasibility study that Chidima mentioned, right? You want to establish a project or program, and you want to know whether it will function, what are some of the things that you require to set up, and all that. And then the process is once a program is running, you want to monitor its progress, right? And then the outcome basically you are looking at the effects, right? The benefit of that program to the people. Then we are what we call cost-effective evaluation, which some will describe as, in economics, we can describe as cost-benefit analysis. Is that okay? How much money do we put in? What are you getting out of it? Right? In cost-benefit analysis, what we should not also forget is to look at the social costs and social benefits. Right? So, for example, if you are going for a holiday, you are going to spend money, right? You are going to spend hard cash. But what will you benefit from it? And what will be the cost if you didn't go? Anyone? So, for example, holiday. What are some of the costs involved you refusing to go on holidays? Social costs.
Is it in
Yes.
terms of cost effectiveness evaluation or cost analysis investigation? Which of them are?
No, when we look at, I explained the fact that in economics we do what we call benefit analysis, right? But here we are looking at, I'm giving typical example, right? And I mentioned about social cost. And I'm saying somebody going on holidays, is that okay? You are going to spend money. Is it
Yeah.
beneficial? Is it beneficial to go on holidays? If it is, how? And does it cost if you refuse to go? If it is costly, social cost, what is it? Anyone? Just briefly. I don't want to delay.
Okay,
Yes?
so for example, using the vacation of a thing,
Yeah.
yes, you're spending money, but
Mhm.
the cost of going, their reason maybe, let's say for people like us that travel overseas to see family
Mhm.
members. So if you
Mhm.
didn't go, you are losing
Mhm.
out in family connection, you are
Okay.
losing out
Yes.
in family bonding,
Yeah.
and at the same time, you're adding more stress to yourself
Mhm.
because at
Mhm.
times when you go on vacation, especially to the family, it helps you to relieve stress,
Yes.
keep your head calm, and be able
Mhm.
to, come back refreshed to face whatever thing you have at the end of the day.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And when you didn't
Exactly.
go,
Yeah.
you end up being stressed.
Yeah.
You might, have this blame game or guilt game if something bad happens. We don't pray
Mhm.
for it. Something maybe if your parents are living, maybe because when you didn't travel, some of them passed on. You might
Mhm.
not be able to forgive yourself and things like that. And you might also have
Absolutely.
misplaced aggression because you
Mhm.
didn't really box out. So any slight things around you, you are burn
Mhm.
out, you are throwing tantrums and things like that. That could
Okay.
be, yeah.
Great. So all that you mentioned are social benefit and social costs, right? They don't bring income, but it's beneficial. Maria, do you want to add something?
Just for an example, like when I
Yeah.
don't use my vacation pay, I lose my vacation. I mean, like if I don't
Yeah.
use my vacation, I lose it. So
Okay.
they're there for a
Yeah.
reason. So yeah.
Are you compensated in terms of monetary reward for not going? Not taking your vacation.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I have
Are
dogs.
you compensated, right? Monetary, right? Are you giving some money in case you decide not to go for vacation?
Well, we get like we get sick days and
Okay.
our personal days, and then our as we're there, it calculates vacation days. So
Okay.
they warn us when we haven't used them, we have to use them. So we have to put them in place at some point. If not, I don't know. I'm not sure. I've always used them, so I don't know if we end up getting
Okay.
paid for it. If not,
Okay.
I'm not.
All right.
I have a similar with my job. If I don't use my vacation days, I don't get compensated and they don't carry over, so you have to
Okay.
use them.
So basically, yeah, so you have to use them. And when you use them, you rejuvenate yourself, right? You come back, you feel relaxed, you are able to work efficiently and all that. And if you don't go, I mean, you are building up the stress. And therefore, yeah. Wanda, you want to add something?
Oh, I was just gonna say most places you lose them, but some employers will do, you can't carry over more than 10. So my
Okay.
employer is your vacation days accumulate, and if you don't take vacation, and then at the end of the fiscal year, if you have more than 10, you'll lose the ones that you have. So if you
Oh, okay.
have like 15 days, you'll lose 5 days.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
always good to, I mean, to use them, right?
Yes.
It helps. Then we also look at cost analysis investigation. Sometimes we do evaluation to look at the costs of a program and whether it's worth it or whether there's, I mean, something need to be done to adjust the cost and here and there. What are the characteristics of good program? What will a good program evaluation look like? One, adequate staffing, meaning the staffing should be optimum. Optimum means they are not too many, they are not too few, right? If sometimes you have too many people doing the same job, there's this distraction, right? And if there are fewer people doing, a job was supposed to be done by many, then there's also stress. So always you work around optimum, right? Number of people. Stable funding, very, very important because every program runs on funding. If you don't have any stable or sustainable source of funding, the program is likely to collapse. Recognizable identity, right? The program should be known for something. So, for example, Habitat for Humanity. Who knows Habitat for Humanity? Who has heard of it before? Anyone? Habitat for Humanity, who has heard of it before? I can see two people. Yes, go ahead, mention.
They're meant for building low cost houses for people.
Yes, yes, they build low-cost houses was, I think, initiated by Jimmy Carter, former president of US, and they are into building low-cost houses for people. Should have conceptual, yes, Justin.
Is it most often that people have to help with the build if they're for Habitat Humanity? Like they have to be a part of the build for a certain amount of hours in order to receive the home?
I don't know how their models function, but I think
Yeah, you do. You have to put in sweat equity in most of
yeah.
them.
You have to
Yeah.
put in 500 volunteer hours. It doesn't necessarily have to be building the house, but
Okay.
every single person that is going to be living in that house has to do 500 hours.
Oh,
I hope,
$500. Okay, good.
yeah, and you can also tap in your friends and family to contribute to your hours. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's kind
Wow.
of cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's cool. All right. All right. Should have a conceptual or theoretical foundation. Should, I mean, have some philosophical assumption. We will look at the philosophical assumptions and systematic effort or empirical evaluation of services, evidence-based research foundation. So these are some of the things that any good program evaluation should have, right? We'll discuss them in detail, so I will not spend a lot of time here. But let's talk briefly about the evidence-based practice. Normally, it was first of all started within the medical field, right? You can't provide services without a well-informed information or knowledge, right? That's what basically evidence-based means. But It has been adopted by other disciplines like this, psychology, social work. Social work is just a combination of various fields, right? And they also kind of use evidence-based, in most of the practices. So then what is evidence-based? Is the integration of the best research evidence with our clinical expertise and our patient unique values and circumstances. So you are bringing three things into play. One, research, empirical research. Two, your experience as the service provider. And then the client experience, right? You are merging them in order to come out with reasonable information. It is vital in program evaluation, but currently no clear ethical or legal mandate require that human service professionals to deliver research-supported evidence. So, which means that it is important, but it's not a requirement, right? But it's very, very important when you use that. I mentioned it was started with the medical field, in the medical field, but it has now been adopted in other areas of research. Any question before I move on? Any questions, comments so far? Is the explanation going good with you? Okay, excellent. Wonderful.
Sorry, Professor, I have a quick question. Sorry, for
Yes,
clarity.
yes,
You
go
said
ahead.
that evidence-based in social work. So, like I know, like when we go to doctors, we try to explain, like, let's say you have headache, you have fever, and now in social works, how does that play? I know that at times people come, they tell their stories to you. So can you really explain a little bit further how,
Okay, so
probably with an example, like illustrations will help a little bit,
okay,
if
so
that's okay.
basically,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. As a social worker, you should have information about, for example, what the client is coming to look for. So let's assuming somebody comes to your institution or organization, looking for mental health support. You, the person or the social worker, should have a little bit of information. You should read about mental health, right? Acquaint yourselves. Throughout your practice, you might have come across people with a mental health. What kind of services did you provide to them? What did you hear from your client, right? Most often. What do, for example, clients always complain about? So you are coming to put all these three information together to be able to what? Provide service to the individual, right? So these are how your decision that you make is based on not only your understanding, but from literature, from your practical experience, as well as from what you've heard from your client, for example.
Okay.
Okay, good. Let's see step-by-step way of conducting evidence-based practice. One, you convert the need for information into an answerable question. So, for example, there's COVID, and there's something going through your mind. What is COVID? What is COVID? Why? Why is it, affecting so many people? Then you convert this and, your idea of looking for more information into questions, right? Like, what are the causes of COVID? What are the effects? How can it be managed? Right? I need information, but I've converted my information to questions now. And this question is going to form the basis by which I'll do the program evaluation. I'll evaluate or I'll conduct the research. So you convert your need for information into questions or researchable questions or research questions, right? Track down best evidence with, sorry, let me, yeah, track down best evidence with which to answer these questions. How am I going to answer these questions? Right? So what do? First of all, you read around the area or the topic. You see what has been done. How was it done? Right? And then how am I going to either incorporate what has been done already, or how am I going to do mine differently to add to the existing knowledge, right? Then critically appraise the evidence for it, validity. Whatever evidence that you get from literature or from any sources, you have to do what we call validation. How do you do that? Compare and contrast other research or authors on the same topic. Most of the time, you may see that they have a consensus on the issue, right? And of course, in research, you don't expect to get 100% consensus. Sometimes some will agree, some will disagree. But you, as an individual, you also are experienced person, and therefore you may know where the majority of the people are. So you use them as basis. Integrate this critical appraisal with one clinical expertise. So all the information that you obtain, you synthesize them, and then you combine them with clinical expertise, with the patient's unique values. So you look at the patients, what are the features or what are the characteristics of the person? Is it the person that is more focused on, for example, culturally appropriate services? Are you culturally competent? For example, some people have issue with the idea of cultural competence, or the best way to say is cultural what? Have a cultural knowledge, for example, to deal with for example, the situation, and then evaluate one's effectiveness and efficiency in carrying out the preceding 4 steps. So these 4 steps, you are going to use your effectiveness and efficiency to evaluate them. Let's look at the evidence-based model, right? The evidence-based practice model assume that one follows appropriate professional ethical standard. So, for example, when you are providing care to either patient or you are providing services to either client, what are the best practice? What are the things that will constitute no-go area? So, for example, you should have boundaries, right? You should have boundaries. You cannot be friend with your client. Your client is your client. Have a distinct boundary between you, right? For example, what else? Ethical issues. There are so many, right? So many, ethical issues. Don't provide services to the clients that will benefit you, right? You don't look at your benefit, what you gain from, right? And there are so many ethical issues. So always you let the professional code or professional ethical standard guide your decision in whatever decision making you are in. The evidence-based model also requires a practitioner to respect client values, right? You may have your own scientific whatever, but the client may have his own cultural point of view, and that means whenever you are providing service to the client, right? The client must consent to the service that you are providing. Are we good? The first point is the client consent. Very, very important. There are, for those of you who take ethics, there are guidelines, right? Ethical guidelines as to, how you provide. And that's why, for example, when you go to the hospital and they are going to perform any procedure, you must consent before, right? And therefore, and these are ways to prevent harm, right? To prevent harm to the client or prevent harm to the person receiving services. Okay. Oh, I will not, these are the philosophical assumptions that I mentioned. I'm not going to go through this. These are just explanation. So we have what we call these are the way, yeah. These are the types of evaluation I was talking about. We know we mentioned about formative process and outcome evaluation, but there are type of evaluation based on their use, right? Types of evaluation based on the purpose for which the evaluation is done. One, we are what we call the required evaluation. What does it mean? So, for example, you apply for a funding and you got a funding and you establish a program. And it's a requirement of the funding that you do evaluation every year, right? So that the funding agency will be able to track your performance. So that evaluation is called required. Are we good with that? Yeah, required evaluation. Then there are evaluations that we do in order to compete for funding, right? I want to prove that my services are providing some benefit to the community. So I'll carry out the evaluation, add a report to the application, and then submit it. So that one is called competition for scarce fund. Then we have evaluation of new intervention. So I've introduced, intervention, let's say food security. And then, the program started running few months or few years. I decided to, conduct evaluation to assess its effectiveness in order to what? Improve the services that I provide. Then we are what we call evaluation for accountability, right? This one is done to assess the validity of an allegation or to assess strengths and weaknesses of program to make judgment. So, assuming there's a program about food security, and then somebody raised an allegation that, oh, the service providers are diverting the food, right? The service is an allegation. So I tasked people to evaluate or conduct, a study to identify whether it's true or not. So based on the outcome, I may terminate some of the employees, or I may say, oh, okay, it wasn't true. So you can still continue to work in this organization, and so on and so forth. In conducting evaluation, what motivates us to conduct evaluation? Or what are some of the things that we want to see, right? Right? Or what are some of the things that should we focus on? One, clients are being helped or not. You provided the services, right? To serve the community. Are the clients benefiting? Is it improving their lives or not? These are ways by which we can conduct an evaluation. Clients satisfied with the program or not? So client satisfaction evaluation, right? Then a program has addressed or had an impact on the social problem. What was the purpose of the program you set up? Are you achieving the purpose? A program needs more staff or resources. So this one basically, through your evaluation, you'll be able to know whether your work staff, you have the optimum level, or you have excess staff, or you have low staff. And based on the findings, you will be able to what? Add more people or leave some people off. To assess whether a program staff is properly and efficiently utilized, to assess whether a program, to assess whether a program staff is properly and efficiently utilized, to determine the cost effectiveness of a program, to determine the extent or magnitude of problem, or to confirm suspected problem. So all this can be a basis by which we can call for evaluation. Any one of them can be basis for calling for, program evaluation. Any questions so far? Wanda, do you have a question? Okay. Now, evaluation often begin with identify problem, whether at local or state or national level. Of course, that is the same way research also is about. You identify a problem. COVID cases, is it food insecurity? Is it rising cases of mental health? You identify the problem first and then begin to search, right? How to address the problem. So in US, this is a requirement for some, especially School of Social Work, to do evaluation from time to time. And of course, as you are all aware, in Canada here, we have what we call CASWI. And then CASWI, from time to time, go to various social work institutions or universities or whatever to assess, right? To conduct their own evaluation. And based on their evaluation, they can extend your accreditation or they can take your accreditation. So take note of that. Now, as we mentioned earlier on, qualitative research, and of course, the program evaluation aspect of it, if you are doing the qualitative aspect of it. We mentioned earlier on that mostly is subjective, right? Qualitative research is subjective. How can we overcome that subjectiveness, right? How can we overcome that? So we have a professional responsibility to avoid making referrals to ineffective or deficient program. The problem with subjective evaluation is that anyone or everyone is usually right. So the whole idea that, okay, everybody has his own or their own opinions, right? And therefore everybody is right. If everybody is right, then nobody is wrong. So how can we do proper assessment, right, of a program or of an institution? So now we move from subjectivity to objectivity position where we go beyond our personal experience or opinion and collect information about other experiences. So basically what we are saying here is that because we as humans, we have all our own opinions, right? We have our own subjective position. So we don't use only our ideas, just only only ideas basically coming from us to make judgment or to make assessment. We should try as much as possible to get as many views as possible, right? So if I have a position on something and I want to make a decision on that, I have to consult others. Okay, Wanda, this is my position on this issue. What do you also think? Then the one that would describe what she thinks and it's okay. Jessica, do you have any alternative ideas? Then Jessica will also mention. I will then consult, Sonnet. Can you add? So then based on the various information that I've gathered, right, I can use it to make an informed judgment. Rather than always believing in the superiority of my ideas, right? I have to do consultation, right? To eliminate or water down that subjectiveness. Evaluators, in some respects, applied scientists. They are applied scientists, of course. Becoming an evaluator requires you to adjust your perspective to see things more broader. So if you are an evaluator, I mean, yes, of course, you are an experienced evaluator. I mean, but you have to consult. And the same way in research, you cannot just conduct a study and publish it yourself. After conducting a study, you write everything, you have to send it to a journal. The journal will also review. There are other scholars who are also going to review your paper or your article and critique your article. And based on their critique, right, you can rework your article to finalize it, to capture their perspective, right, in the study. Because you don't want, at the end of the day, everybody will blame you. Okay, did you look at this? Did you look at that? And then, of course, every study is critique, right? And every program evaluation can have their own critique, but you have to minimize the tendency for people to critique your work. And you can do that by consulting people, right? You should be open-minded as well when you are doing that. Okay. Rochelle, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, when in consulting people, can that also be, because it sounds like you were saying consulting colleagues, but can that also be like the population that you serve, like doing anonymous surveys,
Of
getting their
course.
feedback? Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, of course. Of course. The client, very, very, at the end of the day, they are even more important, right? You are serving them. So at the end of the day, yes, they are very, very important. I mean, very, very important.
Is it, I worked with an organization that had a program that like when you have a job and you want to keep your job, you're so afraid to like say something sometimes because like if everybody's on, if other people are doing a similar thing and then you're the one person not doing that, you could like be targeted, right? But like I've
Yeah, I
worked with
know.
organizations and they just like they fudge numbers to keep the funding. And that is like I think that there was the need for the program. It's just that people didn't want to do the work. Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, I think we come across that a lot. So that's why sometimes we even also question the subjective, the whole glamour about, I mean, objectivity of, I mean, quantitative, right, research. Because at the end of the day, they need something to prove to get a funding, right? So you cannot say that is more objective, right? And so on and so forth. So assuming if the organization that gives you funding, your research critique them, are you sure they are going to continue to give you funding to be critiquing them and so on and so forth? Yeah. Michelle?
I was just gonna say, sometimes program evaluations are, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, when you get an evaluation and some people just do it really quickly, right? Like if you're evaluating something just to do it, right? Like your exit ticket to do the program evaluation. So you're like, excellent, 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 excellent. You know what I mean? Because people are kind of like, a lot of people like don't, it's kind of like don't want to do that. So
Absolutely.
sometimes they could not be very accurate.
Absolutely. So you are absolutely. We will talk about it. I mean, later in the course. I don't know when, but maybe one of the weeks. See, mostly programs get higher evaluation, and there are so many reasons. You know, assuming you are providing services to people, without it, they are going to lose something. And you ask them, is this program, effective? Of course, because they want to continue to receive it, right? They will just say yes. They will rank you high just to continue the program. But in actual sense, it doesn't mean maybe the program is more effective. So normally there's benchmark, right? If a program evaluation, I think if it is below, is it 70 or 80, then we consider it as not good. Always should be high, 80 and above, right? So we'll talk about this later on. So we mentioned about programs should be grounded in theory, right? It should have a theory. And basically, when we talk about theory, we mean the principles that guide how things are done. Is that okay? So theory is a set of principles on which an activity is based on. Theoretical model can be what? Important to understand how programs should work, where to look for indication of success. So basically, as I mentioned, if you want to run a program, you should look at some similar program that have been done. What are some of their strengths and what are some of their weaknesses? What sustain the program or what caused the program to be what? To be terminated and ordered. So you already have information based on that. When you are developing your program or you are creating your program, you'll be able to address all those shortcomings, right? In order to make it fair. So if a program that doesn't have a solid, theoretical foundation is bound to fail, right? A program that does not have a solid theoretical foundation is bound to fail. And a program that also fail means the theory that was based on is flawed. Did you understand that point? Okay, so excellent. Oh.
Can you say that again, Dr. Demi?
A program, let me see. A program that is not founded on a solid theory is bound to fail. A program that is not founded on solid theory, right, or sound theory is bound to fail. And a program that failed means the theory on which it was founded is flawed. Did you get that point?
Yep, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. So too often theory is blend of past experience, tradition, and even sometimes or professional folklore. So when a program is successful, the possibility exists that the underlying theory, when a program is not successful, yes, James, that is what I was saying. If a program is not successful, the possibility exists that the theory or the underlying theory is flawed, right? Which calls for new thinking and then new approach. Yes, Chidima?
Please, sir, you're saying that when it like the success of a program evaluation is dependent on the theory.
No, the program.
The program evaluation
Yes.
is dependent on the theory.
There is a
Like,
difference between program evaluation, which is you are evaluating program, and then the program. What I'm saying is that when a program is not founded on a solid or good or sound theory, is bound to fail. Is that all right?
and what if the program, like the theory is okay, but it's the process that made it to fail? Is it always direct proportional, or are there times like you have a program that is okay, the theory you are looking at to support the program seems to be okay, but the program failed maybe as a result of maybe human error or process and other things. So do they you consider such things in scoring the success of a program?
Yeah, so ideally, this is what we call for example, it means there should be due diligence, right? And then the theory will guide you to do the due diligence. So if similar program has been done somewhere and you are going to create or develop your own program, you have to look at the what made that, the existing program successful, and then what is causing it downfall. So you'll be able to refine it. Of course, we are not saying because you base your theory, your program on a sound theory doesn't mean it cannot flop, because there is human element. Human can even sabotage you, right? There can be element of sabotage, and that cannot be mostly captured by that theory. Theory assumes that every human is rational and they will do the right thing. And at the end of the day, people will sabotage you, right? Still, and then, so yes, of course, it can happen. Yes, Shauna.
Could you give an example of a theory that a program would be based off of? Are you talking like harm reduction theory, or is, can you give an example?
Yeah. So when I'm talking about theory, basically what I'm saying is that not a specific theory like maybe harm reduction theory, right? What I'm saying is that there's existing principle that guide how the thing should be done. That is a theory. Is that okay? But not as definition of a particular theory.
Can I
Do you
give an
get what?
example?
Yes.
So I think, so like the program that I case manage is a youth, like it's specifically driven by youth voices.
Okay.
So it would also align with like empowerment theory, for example. So would that be an example? Like, you know, if it's based on empowerment and the youth voice and, being guided by their decisions, etc., would that be an example of like a program that is being driven by a theory?
Yeah. So I want us to understand what I mean by theory here, right? Theory basically means the principles that guide how things are done. So in an effect, it means some program, let's take for example, there's a particular program that has been done in multiple places. So you coming to create now, you have an informed idea or knowledge, right, about the program. That is a theory, right? So not like defining a specific theory like critical race theory or whatever, right? The knowledge that exists that you can rely on to develop your own program. What has been done already, the practical experience some will share with you, they all constitute theory. Do you understand? So that's why I explain theory here. Just look at it.
So it's
Theory
about
is a
the
set of principles on which an activity is based on. Do you understand that the idea of theory? And of course, we have a well-established theory like empowerment theory, as you mentioned, critical race theory, and whatever. But the knowledge, what does the theory talks about, for example? I'm talking about the knowledge that the theory convey, right? The guidance that the theory conveys. So if you create or develop your program based on solid guidance, right, it is bound to function. Yes, Shauna.
Think when I think of it more as like a model, and now that
Model,
I see
yes.
theoretical model or
Yes.
theoretical model, I think that helps me understand it a little bit
Yes,
more.
absolutely. Absolutely, you are right. Right? So you have something that you can compare and contrast, right? And based on which you make an informed decision on how to run the program. Are we good? Jessica? James?
I'm very good.
Okay, wonderful.
So,
Yes.
Professor,
Yes.
sorry. So what you're saying here now is that the theoretical model is just like the processes involved in the program evaluation. Like, is it like the step by steps of activities that were done? Let's say the program you're doing now. let's say um, company A has done this program,
Yeah.
and like some the youth empowerment program, for instance,
Yeah.
that they've done that program and it worked for them,
Yeah.
and like their youth is being taken out from the streets and their
Mm-hmm.
youths are behaving well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you
Yes.
come to your own organization to do the same program, so
Yeah.
now you are going to look at step by step, what is it that
Absolutely.
we are done? What are the activities that we are carried on so
Absolutely.
that the outcome will be good? So that at the end of the day, it may be
Yes.
your goal is to take the
The youth
youth
from the
out
street.
from the street. So now what
Absolutely.
you are looking at, this theoretical model is just like activities that you're going to do. What are you going
Mm-hmm.
to do to achieve your goal? Is that what
Yes.
you're trying to convey to us?
Yes, absolutely. So
Okay.
you look at their activity, what made them successful, what are the challenges so that you don't repeat, right? Mostly they
Okay.
will tell you because uh when programs start at the beginning, they will have some issues. What are the issues? How were they addressed? Right? So that will serve as a blueprint for you, right?
Okay.
That will serve as a blueprint for you to, model your program after. Okay, so yeah, theory is often, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Theory is often blended of past experience, tradition, and even sometimes myth or professional folklore. And when a program is not successful, okay, I think I said all this, right? Under the assumptions, let me see. Okay, let me talk about this, and then the assumption I will just allow you to just read them yourself. So, program evaluation studies should generally be considered as relatively poor tests of theoretical uh, validity. Why is it that program evaluation is poor test of a theory or theory? Oh, you should know this.
Because
Uh
it, oh,
okay,
go
sorry, go
ahead,
ahead.
Chima.
Go
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead,
ahead.
sorry.
so it could be a mistake or poor execution on that particular group's um, way of implementing it.
Mm, can you repeat what you just said?
So if a certain, say, another city implements
Mm-hmm.
a program that was done in a different city, and
Mm-hmm.
then they do a program evaluation,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps if it comes out differently than all the other successful programs, it's probably because of an issue or maybe the need's not the same in that general area. Um,
Okay. Okay.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense. What else? Anyone?
Mm,
Why
maybe
is it that program evaluation is not considered as a good test of a theory, whether a theory is good or bad? Program evaluation will not be able to do justice to that.
maybe because no
Yes.
two people or no two projects or two program is the same. No
Okay.
two city is the same. So because of their unique nature, some
Okay.
things might be applicable to city A or
Mm-hmm.
program A. It will not be applicable to program B. And when
Okay.
you those things that are applicable to A that is not applicable to B, you know, so it might not really do justice to A. So if the one that's applicable to A and make A to be successful,
Mm-hmm.
then when you come to B, because of their condition, their environment, the need at that time,
Mm-hmm.
circumstances surrounding them, so
Mm-hmm.
those things might not really,
Be the same.
fit it, be the same because it's not
Okay.
one size fits all.
Yeah.
So at the end
Okay.
of the day, yeah, it's not really doing justice because there are some things there are other things that needed to factor in that maybe they were not factored in as a
Mm-hmm.
result of, yeah, because you're benchmarking on this other city or this other program, so maybe you overlooked some things.
Okay, yeah, you are right. Jessica?
I think it's more, well, I don't know if I'm right, but I feel it more related to that it's based on the outcome, not on the research part. So maybe it's considered like poor test of theory validity because it's based like the the outcome is the main focus of program evaluation and not like the research itself.
Okay. So I mean, all now you all said you are right in a sense, but the answer, I mean, to in addition to what? Okay, Rochelle, want to add something before?
Okay, was the question why? I think you were asking why is it? You're saying are programs supposed to all be similar? Something the outcomes are they all supposed to be similar? Is that your question?
No, no, no. The question is, the first statement here. Program evaluation studies should generally be considered as relatively poor test of theory validity. And I'm asking why is that the case? Why is it that program evaluation is not a good test of a theory?
Okay. Well, what I don't know. I was gonna kind of say something else. I was just gonna say that, I was gonna say that, like they don't have to prove a theory because you can exceed a theory. Like you can learn new things.
Okay.
But I don't. That's all I have.
All right, that's good. So I mean, yeah, I can good. I like this class. This class is more engaging. Yeah, Sonnet. Sonnet,
I
I
don't
saw
know
your
if,
hand up. Or
yeah,
is it a legacy hand?
sorry. I don't know if I lost my train of thought, but I'm saying that the program evaluation, right? They're gonna do the evaluation to see because okay, you already have the theory. So you put in the steps, you put in the process, right, to get to an outcome. But the evaluation is you're doing the program evaluation now to see the effectiveness and how it you know it how the outcome like what you expected it to be, right? But the theory is just already just like the concept or it's just the
Okay.
principles. It has have
Yes.
nothing to do with like I don't know if I think I don't know if I get it right. I should have write it
Yeah.
down. But
Yeah. What you said makes sense. So basically, what I mean is that I see mostly, as we mentioned earlier on that, uh, program evaluation mostly are not necessarily meant to generate theory, right? As we mentioned, it's not for publication and other. But apart from that, all that you said, I mean, you said in a different way, all of you, negative outcomes should not be based on many, should be based on, I mean, could be based on many factors and not prove the theory was incorrect. You understand? So the fact that there's negative outcome doesn't necessarily mean that the theory was what wrong, right? There could be several factors. I mentioned about sabotage, right? Theory will not capture people that will sabotage you, try to sabotage your program. People that will decide to maybe steal I mean, the resources, right? Theory will believe that human beings are rational. So if you are into a program, your goal is to help the program to develop. But of course, humans are unpredictable. Humans are unpredictable. You can have somebody who is your manager, yet the person wish the program to collapse, right? So that is fun. And the two, positive outcome do not always mean the theory was correct. You understand? So sometimes we have to be careful how we attribute success and failure to theory. Is that okay? We have to be careful how we do the attribution because there are so many factors. In economics, they will tell you ceteris paribus means everything remains constant. But in life, nothing remains constant. Life, nothing remains constant. Everything changes.
Oh yes.
So,
I think I have an example.
okay,
I
good.
think I have an example. When COVID happened, okay, so when
Yeah.
COVID happened, we were doing like in-person culinary training.
Yeah.
And then we were like, how are we gonna do this? Like, so we didn't know how we were gonna still facilitate culinary training because our kitchen was on site.
Yeah.
And at first, our numbers did go down, but we reported like it's because of COVID. So it didn't mean like our program wasn't effective. It's just the changes, like something we couldn't control.
Absolutely. You didn't factor in COVID in your planning, right? You never thought there would be something COVID. And then all of a sudden, COVID came in. So the failure or the reduction in the staff or whatever doesn't necessarily mean that you did a poor job. So that's basically what I mean. Human services program are theoretical. Okay, that's another point. So as they said, humans are not like laboratory animals, right? In the laboratory, you can control temperature, you can control everything. But in humans, yeah, I mean, you can't control human being. Human being can be friendly today and tomorrow the person will front their faces and all that. So these are some of the things that we should expect, right? So let me wrap up quickly and I'll allow you to go and read the concepts, the assumptions. Okay, these are the philosophical assumptions. I'm not going to take you through. I've given you all the definition like grocery, so just read them. So we talk about realism, which is the point of view that the world has an independent or objective existence apart from the perception of observers. We have what we call determinism, you have positivism, you have rationalism, and so these are concepts you have to just read them. Just grab the skepticism, nihilism, anecdotalism, that like anecdote, right? Stories, right? And then dualism, all these are what do we call assumptions that existed. But just what I want to point out that these assumptions have been used over time. Sometimes one assumption will become superior, and another time, I mean, it will be changed and so on and so forth. So, for example, when we talk about scientific, skepticism. Oh, what? Okay, let me close this one. When we talk about scientific skepticism, it is the modest request that such assertion be what? Assorted with what? Supported with credible evidence before being accepted or widely adopted in practice. So basically, in scientific skepticism, what we mean that for every information that you provide, there should be some test of proof, right? You have to prove it with evidence, right? You cannot just make a statement without evidence. So, for example, you cannot say food insecurity is increasing in Susemeri. They will ask you, what is your evidence? Did you conduct a study to do that? The fact that food security is happening in your house does not translate that everybody is experiencing it. And if you want to make a profound statement, you have to provide evidence, proof, right? So take note of that. Then professional social work accepted the doctrine of positivism established in the early part of the 1800s by the French philosopher and the scientists. So as I mentioned earlier, social work, we have the mainstream and then we have the what? Anti-oppressive social work. So the mainstreams are always work with the positivism or the meritocracy and so on and so forth. And these are the systems that, in a way, do what we call victim blaming, right? So if somebody is not successful, meaning you don't work hard, right? So a client who is experiencing, for example, food insecurity or challenges, then the assumption is that the client is not working hard. Why are you poor? Get a job, and so on and so forth. But when you look at the social work from anti-oppressive, perspective, then we ask critical questions beyond the surface, right? Why is it poor? let's look at individual. Why is this individual poor? Why are these certain groups of people always poor? But positivism believe in meritocracy. Oh, if you work hard, you get money. And as one poet says, they tell us education is the key, but they keep on changing the doors. So you go and have the key, and you come, the door lock is changed. Oh no, you have the key, you cannot open. Right? So that's what we can take note of. I
Prof,
just want
sorry,
us
let
to.
me ask you a question. This is a joke. You said they changed the key. They changed the locks? What if they lock it and they still throw away the key that you can't find it?
Okay. No. So I'm talking about a student poet. His analogy is that always we hear education is the key. Education is the key to success, right? Education. And if you get a key, you have to get a door to open it, right? So if you have the key and by the time you come home, the door is changed or locked, or as you mentioned, the door lock is thrown away. So you have your key, but you cannot use it, right? And so on. So that's by the way. I think I'll wrap up here and thank you all for coming. I think today I spent a lot of, and I like the discussions, right? The discussions also contributed to this thing, and that is good. It helped us to
Yeah, I
kind of.
think it was really, for me, it really was something that put things into perspective and just showed
Wonderful.
the example. So I really do appreciate the discussions we had today.
Wonderful. All right.
Thank
Is
you,
there any question?
everybody. Thank you, Professor.
Somebody want to go and sleep. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we need
Thank
to
you,
go
sir.
because it's really cold outside.
I'm going home. I shouldn't have come to campus. I should have stayed in my
Oh,
house. But
you don't
today,
have
when I
snow.
came out, my car was not even sparking.
Oh
It
my
was
gosh.
too.
It's something
Was
else
not.
out here.
I made a mistake. I should have, plug it, but I didn't, and it's hard. Yes, Jordan.
Hi, I was just wondering if after everyone left, if I could just ask you a quick question.
Okay, sure, you can do that.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Stay
Good
safe
night.
and stay warm.
Thank you for the class. It was
Good night,
good learning.
Have,
everyone. Have a
have,
good
have
night.
a
Have a
good
great rest
weekend.
of the week.
Good
And
one. Good
everybody
one.
stay
Yeah.
safe.
Stay safe till we meet next week. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. So let me stop recording.